What did somebody do? Raise the hush flag?
They saw you
No,
were
Wayne
ready.
said it's time to start. How you doing, young man?
Where's the time?
There you go. You see that okay there?
Yeah, you betcha.
I call this meeting in order. Welcome everyone, good morning, and happy Easter to all of you. Let us start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please, when you say the Pledge of Allegiance, feel that heart. And for those some of you that are still waiting to find out, your heart is on the left-hand side.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Kramer, for that. Another housekeeping item, for those of you who still have fascination with your cell phones, pages, and pacemakers, please put on the vibrator.
People turn their pacemakers off?
Oh, yeah. They can. With the new technology, you can put it with the app.
We lose more people that way, isn't it?
Okay, live broadcast of this event can be viewed at youtube.com/UtahDOT. And let's see, Zach, what was the last count on that one last month? Hundreds.
Of thousands.
And I also would like to take a personal privilege and say or sing happy birthday to Zach with me, one of our own. And we're going to sing it. We're not just going to say it. We're going to record it.
Excuse me, Chairman?
Yes.
It's Brian's birthday as well.
Oh, is it? Okay, well, we're going to sing both of them. If you can tune it into. So 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Brian and Zach. Happy birthday to you. And many more. I don't know what is Brian's favorite gift, but the Zach's is cereal for breakfast and cinnamon crunch. Good job. Okay, let's have an introduction this morning, and we're going to start with the commission and then UDOT family. Let us start with Luke Kramer, please.
Good morning, Luke Kramer, Commissioner at Large. I live in downtown Salt Lake, and what a great day to be in Utah.
I'm Wayne Barlow. I represent Region 1. I live in Cache Valley and/or Bear Lake.
Go ahead, please.
I'm Commissioner Danny McConkey, and I'm a commissioner at large that live in St. George.
Good morning, Jim Evans, Commissioner for Region 3 and the state, and I live in Orem. Thanks.
And my name is Nagi Zanati from sunny St. George. Yes, I brought it here. I couldn't wait for you guys to order it for us. It is a beautiful day. I would like to excuse Commissioner Megan Holbrook, who's visiting family in Nashville, Tennessee, and also Donna Law, who is also with the family out somewhere. I don't know the location.
Undisclosed.
Carlos, would you please introduce the UDOT family?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm Carlos Braceras, Executive Director of the department.
Terry Newell, Deputy Director, Planning and Investment.
Jason Davis, Deputy Director, Engineering and Operations.
Heather? Do you want us to do everyone?
Yes, please.
Okay. Carmen, let's start it off. You guys know the drill.
Brian Allen, Region 2. Brett Calder, Region 2. Ben Hewitt, Northern Development. Rob White, Operations. Chris Peterson, Project Development.
Let's do... no, sorry, Randy.
Lisa?
Lisa Wilson, Region 1.
Rob White, Region 3. Matt Parker, Region 3.
Charles?
Charles Forlot with Roadway. Diane Blyer with Driveway. John Reese,
Nathan? Ivan?
I'm our program Farmington. Bob Ellis, state coordinator. Robert Miles, Justification.
Rachel Hull, legislative director.
Elizabeth? Back row? Elizabeth? No, no.
Only 70 members.
And then, Grant, start there. Don't
Grant
mind.
Potter, UDOT Communications.
Zach Whitney, UDOT Communications.
Gordon Lake Technology Innovation.
Okay, we got everyone? Thank you. I would like to also recognize our partners from the Federal Highway. Ivan Morero and Brigitte Mendel, welcome this morning. Thank you. They are our lifelines for our UDOT. Thank you. Let's see, we have a special presentation today. For the first time in the history of the UDOT Commission, we have one of our own. We're going to be presenting an award for being so observant and so diligent in his meetings and committees. So Brian Adams is going to do the presentation this morning, please.
I think they're all nervous.
Yeah, they should be.
Still your birthday.
Yeah, and there's no other place I'd rather be than here on my birthday. So, so we wanted to take a minute and address Commissioner Kramer for a second here. Over the past couple of years, we've noticed that he's really passionate about a couple of topics. One of which came out a little bit yesterday morning about adding a few decimal places and 13 cents on a couple $1 million. And but the other one that really stands out to me, I don't know if anybody can guess what the second one is.
Right. We're marketing a great state, right?
Yeah. So yesterday we really missed you. We got to witness a lot of amazing presentations yesterday that had a lot of decimal places and a lot of cents, and then we had one presentation especially that was really meant for you, and that was part of Carmen's presentation. We're proposing adding $4 million to fix all of the signs on 215.
Oh my goodness.
And I know you probably would have had a tear in your eyes when we were going through that topic. So
I have them right now.
So we wanted to take just a second and give you just a little memento to memorialize that special event. And Courtney, do you want to?
Oh my goodness. I feel badly missing it. I was out doing a little lobbying with our governor yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh.
We special built this sign for you. Yeah. We're hoping you can find a place in your office, maybe your kitchen or living room or something like that, so you can enjoy it.
Well, I was going to put it back on Interstate 8. Thank you so much. I don't know if I can carry that, but I'm going back there. Near my heart because I see these.
I wonder how long that baby was out in the weather.
You're showing up at the airport,
That's pretty,
and now we
pretty
got
worn
something to
out.
sell. So thank you.
Yeah.
$4 million is a great down payment.
Thank you.
That's a great birthday present from you to me.
Hey, Brian, is that sign as old as Lou?
Nobody's
Very nice.
I am so sorry I missed it. If I would have known, I would have told the governor, I got signs to take care of for you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Corey, for bringing the sign. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now you know that how much we listen, how much we love you, Commissioner Kramer.
Well, $4 million worth is a great beginning. So, thank you.
I think you're just lucky they chose that small of a sign.
Well, in my university dorm room many years
Oh, no.
ago, when I worked for the Arizona Highway Department, they said these were excess signs, and so I was the coolest dorm guy in the room. But this is very much, and I love the colors, I love Interstate 80, and I love Utah, so thank you for your support of this, through my tears.
Okay, then item in the agenda, the first one is public comments. I understand a few of you have come a long way to be with us. So if you have a particular item that is really concerns you, I would like to invite you to come and express your feelings or your support or whatever that may be. So that's a part of the comments, public comments. So, and then of course we will have the opportunity to discuss the same matter later on. Thank you. Come forward, please. And introduce yourself and of course your capacity in the community.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm Colleen Potter, I'm the mayor of Heber City, and with me is Mike Davis, the county manager of Wasatch County. We also have with us a couple of our one county council member, Steve Farrell, and our city council member, Wayne Hardman. And we just wanted to come to show you our solidarity and how we're working together on some drama in Heber City. And I'm sure you've all heard by now as we're trying to get some funding, and we appreciate your consideration for the funding of our Heber Parkway to have a new route to bypass our downtown Main Street. We have appreciated the cooperation from your UDOT employees who have worked so hard and spent so much time in Heber, which isn't painful. I know they enjoy it, but they've spent a lot of time, including this week where we had a public meeting where the room was overflowing with some really upset members of our community. Maybe some of you have received emails and heard about this. But the study, we were hoping we would come with a great one recommended plan that everyone was singing Kumbaya on, and here's the plan, and now we can push for funding. And it's been really complicated and difficult, and we're hoping that you will consider funding this environmental study so we can get some certainty. We have so many moving parts. You may know we're the fastest growing micropolitan city in America. We've been discovered, and a lot of people want to be in the Heber Valley, but we have a power line project going in. We were hoping to align with this route. We have some issues with our airport, the FAA wanting us to upgrade that. We have the sewer plant. We have a high school wanting to go right along one of the proposed routes for this bypass, and a lot of upset citizens. So what we're hoping is to ask for your willingness to fund this environmental study, whether it's the timing is right to move forward on the road or not. At least we could get some certainty and kind of calm the public and help these other entities be able to do some better planning for the future. So again, we so much appreciate your consideration for this and hope that you'll consider funding that environmental study.
One comment though, in our meetings, in our committees, we don't use word upset, we use them passionate.
You're right. They're passionate, they're concerned, and they're well-meaning, and we appreciate their input. We really do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mayor, we sure appreciate your public service too. That is the toughest job in America, being a city mayor, in my humble
It was
opinion.
Wednesday night, I'll tell you. Most of the time I love it. Most of the time I love it. Thank you.
Commissioner Davis.
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I don't really need to add anything to Mayor Potter's short presentation. I have been personally involved in this for over 20 years in trying to work through with UDOT and our local communities and to address these types of issues. There are safety issues, there are transportation issues, there are all sorts of issues that are associated with this, and we greatly appreciate the partnership we've had with UDOT over the years. And we hope you recognize that as a community we have put much forth as well. We've purchased corridor and used corridor preservation fees and done these things for many years. And so we hope that this can be another step in this progress and recognize it is a process. And it takes a long time to go through these processes. We respect that, but we hope that we're at that point now where we can proceed with the environmental portion if we can get the funding. And thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Any questions from the commissioner or the mayor? Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for coming. Mayor Timothy, if you would like to come.
Good morning. Dirk Timothy, Mayor, Bluffdale City, also Mark Reed, City Manager from Bluffdale City. We wanted to come and recognize the Commission. We really believe that the Commission does a good job, and I really believe that the funding process that the Commission goes through in determining what gets funded, I think it's really second to none in the United States. Sitting on the different in the different meetings that I sit in and watch the process, and then see the support and the efforts from everybody. I really think Utah does a very good job. I also want to thank Danny for his good motion Wednesday at Transcom. Thank you very much. That was quite the conversation, and appreciate your leadership in that motion and direction. But specifically, why I would like to come is I really appreciate the support the Commission's given to Porter Rockwell Boulevard that starts in Harriman, goes through Bluffdale, and will eventually go through Draper, through the prison property. And I really believe that when that becomes a 7-lane road eventually, that will be a very beneficial and very necessary road. And I appreciate the Commission's continued support of the Porter Rockwell Boulevard, and it continues to get support, and it's on the TIF reset, and we all know along with a good economy comes increased prices, and it seems like it's hard to keep up with those. So we're blessed with a good economy, but we're also blessed with increased costs, and so I understand that that's a difficult process to go through, and I continue to appreciate the support for Porter Rockwell Boulevard. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions from Mayor?
How big is Bluffdale? How big is Bluffdale now, Mayor?
We're kind of guessing. It's probably between 15 and 16,000. In the last census, we were at 8,000. So, we've more than doubled since 2010, and we continue to grow. I mean, it's growing pretty fast, and we've seen some good interest in businesses and commercial coming to our city, along with the residential. So, Porter Rockwell Boulevard eventually, we are working with Geneva and the other gravel pit operators to do long-term planning for the gravel pit. And, we believe that will be such a good, important area at the point of the mountain for live, work, and play area. And, so down at where the gravel pits are, it's much lower than the freeway on I-15 at the point. And so, we suspect that large office towers, will fit in there pretty good, and it still won't be higher than the freeway. So, I think it's going to be a good fit, and I think it'll be a very good, destination for, many residents between Utah and Salt Lake counties. And, we're trying hard to plan for a future on-off ramp there, somewhere along the point of the mountain.
Well, based on your incorporated landmass, what's your projection for build-out population?
40,000.
So you got a long ways to go yet.
Yeah, we're going to get there soon, it seems.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else? Just remember, during the public comment section, it is free. Later on, we'll be charged for each minute. See none, we will go with Ivan Marrero or Brigitte. Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm Brigitte Mandel, Federal Highway Administration. I'll make it quick so that I don't rack up too large a bill.
Yours is always welcome, Brigitte.
I guess the first, I'd like to share some good news. Federal Highway Administration now has an administrator. On March 28th, the Senate confirmed Ms. Nicole Nason to be the next Federal Highway Administrator. She formerly was the Assistant Secretary of State for administration under President Trump, and back in 2006 served as Administrator of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration under President Bush. She should be joining us soon. I'm not sure we have a start date yet, but she should be here soon. Next, UDOT was selected to participate in a research contract that Federal Highway is leading. They are one of 9 states asked to participate. And this research project will look into Buy America practices and the use of steel and iron materials on Federal Highway contracts. The hope is that this research will help feed information that can be used in furthering policy changes down the road and guidance for us. Next, we have UDOT was granted a $3 million grant as part of the Advanced Transportation and Congestion Management Technologies Deployment Program. This $3 million was granted for the Utah Connected project, which will help further efforts in Utah regarding connected and autonomous vehicles. And lastly, oh no, not lastly, sorry, 2 more. Heads up that on Monday there will be a notice of opportunity for funding for the next round of build grants. $900 million will be made available once again. The applications will be due July 15th of this year. And there is a series of webinars being held during the month of May to help applicants prepare and get additional information on how to prepare those build grants. And the websites are provided here. And now lastly, we've talked about repurposed earmarks in the past. UDOT currently has about $7 million left of prior earmarks that were unused that can be repurposed for projects within a 100-mile radius of the original earmark designation, and that is through September of 2021. Any questions for me?
Is there any criteria for that $900 million grant?
Yeah, the build program does have set criteria. This year, I believe it's focused on local and regional projects of local and regional significant impacts. And so, yeah, the website, the build website, has all the criteria for applying for those grants.
That's a good lot of fishes.
Yes.
Yes, Carlos.
Ben Hewitt, during agenda item number 9, will give us an update on grants.
Okay. Thank you, Regine. Okay, item number 4 in our agenda is UDOT scoreboard. Chris Peterson will be followed by Rob White.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm pleased to report to you today that I left my phone on my table so that I'm not distracted and Carlos doesn't have to give it to me later. So I'm thinking ahead and I'm trying to plan ahead.
Okay.
For this. My pacemaker right now is beating a little fast. I'll sit down in a minute. It'll slow right down. It'll right back to where it should be. As we give you the update today for project development, if you've been paying attention in the past few months, and if you haven't been paying attention, I'll point it out to you. If you look at the past due date or the past due number of projects, that number is going down, and the regions are working really hard to reduce any of those projects that are past due and haven't advertised. We are getting past our peak advertising season, and so you will see that we, over the next few months, well, if you look at the 2 advertised within 60 days, that's number 7. That's a lot lower than it has been, and that's because the regions have diligently been advertising and getting the projects out that you've commissioned for us to take on. So you've approved a total of 613 projects. Many of those, 261, we're working on to advertise into the future. Some of those that you've approved, they will advertise next year. So I just want to kind of point out how this does. This takes into account everything that you've approved for us to go ahead and work on and gives us good status. What we're excited about here is our advertising performance. Our goal is 85%, and we're 90% on time for the projects that we have done. And I'll give you a total number for our fiscal year in a minute. Over the past month, since the 1st of March, we have advertised, if I can get down to it, I got to get the right spot, nearly $100 million worth of projects in the last month and a half, say. We're really pleased with the bids that we've gotten. We've had a few bids come in that were a little higher than what we expected, but not so much that we weren't able to address those and take care of those within the contingencies that you've provided. Only, I think, we've only had to come back on a couple of projects this year to ask you for additional money to be able to award, so we're doing pretty good. Say that? Today we have one? Okay, so for the, in reality, you know, we talked estimating last month in southern Utah. Our folks are doing a great job estimating and trying to keep up. Like the mayor of Bluffdale said, with a strong economy comes increasing prices, and our folks are doing their best to keep up with that.
That was an excellent presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. So this chart just shows you, it's a histogram of our advertising performance. You'll see just a few of those red projects there that have not been advertised yet. We're working on those to get those advertised. Yellow was the ones that have been advertised late, and blue are ones that are still upcoming. So you'll see that chart shows a decrease in the number of projects to be advertised over the next several months. Our folks, some of those projects are ones that might be a multi-year project, but for the most part, anything we wanted to get done this year, the majority of those we've already advertised and got on the books. So just as a status update on all of our projects, currently we have 165 projects under contract. Total under contract is somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.8 billion worth of contracts that we have underway. And if you look at the blue line on, let's see if I can show you right here. Of the 166 projects, we paid out $647 million of those, and we still have about $1 billion that we have yet to pay out on all of those contracts. Okay. By the way, I was at a meeting with all of the western states earlier this week, and that's a big number, but Texas was there, and everything is a lot bigger in Texas. This dashboard doesn't compare to what they're dealing with there. So, and if you'll notice the payment chart for contractors, we'll start ramping up here in May, and we'll get our contractors getting started now that we have beautiful weather. Let's hope it holds so that they can get to work and get all the work that they have done. The significant rains that we have been having have just delayed or postponed a few projects, and so we're excited to get them going, and so we can get back and get underway. Let's see, I have one more chart that I want to just talk about. You'll notice that this comes back to the estimating process that we go to that we've talked about. Our contractors' bids are generally very close to what we've estimated that they should be, and that's the trend that we like to see. Any questions that you might have for me on my update?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It's good to be with you this morning again, Commissioners. Great day, beautiful spring day. Happy to be here, and happy to hopefully get out this afternoon and enjoy some of the weather. I want to switch over real quickly to our maybe our strategic direction document. I don't want to mess anything up here, but here we go. If I can see my mouse, it's very slow. And again, look at our three goals that we have and what we're tracking. I'm going to focus today, obviously, on zero fatalities. Want to look in our index right now is 88.6%. I want to kind of show you how that's made up, just as a reminder of what the criteria are that go into that. Equipment damage is one of them. That's 5% of that index. The fatalities is 28% of that index, and right now we're meeting 100% of that. UDOT injuries is 10% of that, and we're currently meeting almost 90%. Traffic crashes is 8%, and we're meeting about 48% of that. I won't go into the decimals, so for Commissioner Kramer. Then we've got our traffic fatalities, are 29%. The other one was UDOT internal fatalities. Traffic fatalities is 29%. We're meeting that, so we've got 100% of the target. And then traffic injuries is 20% of that index, and we are currently meeting 93.3%. So quickly, going through some of those graphs, there's our fatality number, and if you look, we're actually trending under our fatalities target, which is a reduction of 2.5% over the previous year. We've had several fatalities, and any fatality, as I've often said, is one too many, but that is promising that we're going to meet our goal for this year. Serious injuries, we're right on our target there of the reduction. We've got 58 so far this year, and that's exactly where our reduction. Our internal injury rate, we're trending a little high, as you can see from the graph. And then our crashes, we are actually a bit over on this one, and that's why you see that we didn't meet all of our goal. The one where it seems to be the struggle of any of them is our equipment damage. And as I've mentioned in the last two commission meetings, we've had a lot of folks out working with snow plows. Those snow plows are very complex to drive and to operate, and they're operating those under stressful conditions, and sometimes that you'll see quite a bit of equipment damage. And that's something I expect to see come down. It is a rate, and so it's how safely are we working when we're working on equipment. It's a rate rather than an overall number, but we've got some work to do in this area.
Rob, could you scroll back up just slightly there and look at the injury rate there? So just to point out to the commission, you can see that target line continues to move down. So as we achieve certain milestones, we look to continue to challenge ourselves and look for more improvements. So if we had left that at the target back in, what was that, 2017, which is over 4, and we now have a target rate under 3. So even though it's a little bit above what our target rate is, that's just kind of a credit to our group of continuing to challenge. So once they reach a milestone, they say, okay, we need to do better. And so we continue to lower what that goal is to try to be the safest DOT in the country.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jason, for pointing that out. The last thing I wanted to show you is some of the work that our Zero Fatalities group is doing, and that's not the one. Is it? Oh, okay, thank you. I got assist from Heather, thanks. So they report to, our Zero Fatalities group reports to us monthly, and I wanted to share with you one thing that they are doing, and that is the high school, the parent nights that they do, where they talk about safe driving and distracted driving, and how not to text when you're driving, and talk about safe behaviors during these parent nights. Many schools require the parents to attend this. I know a few years ago when my daughter was getting her license, I attended this. But I was struck by how much time that this group, and this is from the month of March, they've done 96 presentations. So there's 31 parent nights plus some additional in-school presentations. They've talked about Truck Smart and how to drive safely around bigger trucks. 3 high school activities with the Orem Police Department. They've partnered with law enforcement on that one. And then 3 business presentations. Now, if we had frequent flyer or frequent driver miles like Delta does, these guys would get, they would definitely get some extra, some free flights or something, because they've driven over 9,000 miles. They've reached out to 5,731 people, and then 3,687 students. I think this is where our education needs to start. It needs to start with our young people and getting them in the practice early of driving safe. I started driving when I was very young. I won't say how young. I grew up on a farm. But safety was an important part of everything that my father taught me. And getting this into schools, getting this into the parents' minds and into the students' mind will help us reach our goal of 0 fatalities. And I just wanted to point that out of how much effort that this group is putting out to make sure that we're teaching drivers how to be safe. Any questions from the commission?
Is there any correlation between road rage and fatality?
There are some of the fatalities that we can link directly to road rage, but we base that off of what the police reports tell us. And in some cases, there are. I don't have those numbers right here with me of how many fatalities or injuries or crashes that has led to, but that is something that is definitely a concern.
Well, what I'm suggesting, if we could convince drivers to be calm, maybe it would save lives.
Yeah, that's definitely a safe driving behavior is calmness.
It's a sadness that people lose their life.
It is.
Over a road rage issue.
It is.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner McConkey's right on. It's, one of the things in these presentations that our team makes at these schools with the new drivers is talking about the 5 behaviors that really result in 94% of the crashes nationwide. And we group the road rage into what we refer to as aggressive driving. And we have discussions around those 5 different behaviors. So you're right on, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Other questions?
I just want to say, it was a long time ago that I was in high school. I can still remember those vivid videos, and just the warnings. I think it's so critical to do it then. And my wife was telling me yesterday that one of our granddaughters, who I still think is like in 7th grade, is getting her learner's permit. She's going to be 15, and I can't imagine them driving, but that's the reality, and this preparation is fantastic. So, that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Gee, by the time I was 15, I've been driving for 7 years. On the farm.
Okay, item number 5 on the agenda is consent agenda, which includes item A, approval of the minutes, and B, 2019 STIB amendment number 7. So I would like to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further questions on that or concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is carried. Thank you. Item number 6, program development. Ivan, please.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Starting off our presentation today, we just wanted to also highlight the unprogrammed balances of the programs that we have. For easy review, it's on the back of the consent agenda as well as the beginning of the programming items. Our next page that we'll review is just for your information. This is upcoming. These are the items that we'll be talking about for our TIF reset, items A through H. Jumping into item 6A1A. This is the I-15 statewide study. This study, it's a new project funded with the TIF for $1 million. The statewide study will review existing plans and future needs for the I-15 from border to border. It will look at capacity, operations, and maintenance needs and create an implementation plan, which will include projected cost and time frames. We are asking today for a motion to approve to add the I-15 statewide study to the 2019-2024 STIP as detailed.
I'd like second.
Okay, motion and a second on item number 2. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 2 is approved.
I know we asked this yesterday, but are you sure $1 million is enough to do a statewide I-15 study?
Terry, would you like to answer a little bit of this?
I know you said there was, but I'm just asking the question.
So we're not doing an environmental document on all of I-15. We're just trying to get an implementation plan together and make sure that we are understanding kind of the whole length of the corridor. So we're confident we can do that.
Different kind of study.
Yes, a different kind of study. It's a kind of a transition between our previous type of study that we did that was higher level Wasatch Front Central Corridor study and what we would do in an environmental document. So it's kind of somewhere in between those.
Okay. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Item 6A1B is the SR 172 5600 West Railroad Crossing, funding addition of $3,350,000 to the existing project. Here is a map of the location and the expected outcomes of this project. The concept is to widen the existing 5600 West corridor, SR 201 to I-80, from 2 to 5 lanes, improving intersections to meet the 2050 traffic volumes, and build a new bridge over the Union Pacific Railroad tracks. In addition, the interchange at I-80 will be converted to a diverging diamond interchange. The additional funding request for this project is needed to meet current estimates. Current estimates are more refined than those originally scoped in the earlier phase of this project. Once complete, the section of the road will ease congestion and delays due to the rail traffic and create a more efficient connection between I-80 and SR-201 in West Valley.
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Okay. Any further discussions, questions?
This is the one where UP is also contributing.
Correct. Correct. 7 million, Brian?
Yes.
7 million.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 3 is approved.
Thank you. Our next item, 6A1C, it's the Heber Valley Parkway environmental document. This is a new project for $4 million. The map location here. The communities of Heber City and Wasatch County, as we heard this morning, trying to preserve a corridor for future roadway. During the previous planning study, many alignment issues were identified. These cannot be fully resolved without going through the comprehensive environmental process. The outcome of this project will be used to coordinate planning efforts and show the traffic needs that impact essential infrastructure projects, including the power line placement, sewer farm operations, and a possible airport safety and expansion.
Motion to approve as presented, Mr. Chairman.
I second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on this particular item. Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Before we go on to the next item, the reason we're getting so quickly on these items because we had 5 hours yesterday. 5, more than 5, 10 to 4.
10 to 4.
So we have already been grilled, asked questions, and really discussed these items.
And
So,
and Mr. Chairman, we went
Yes.
through this also last month down in
That's
the-
correct.
And I,
Correct.
so we have discussed these items in details. So today, if you see the quick action, because we have been briefed more than once. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 6A1D, SR30, SR23 to SR252, an addition of $10 million to existing project. These funds are needed to address additional costs for the preferred wetland mitigation site and a higher than anticipated construction inflation than was included in the original estimate. Additionally, to address safety concerns and at the request of the community, a new active transportation trail has been added to this project. Shows here west of Logan. Being said, we are asked for today a motion to approve to add this $10 million to SR30, SR23 to SR252 project as detailed.
Move for approval. Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second.
Question.
The question.
This trail's connected on each end to another trail already? This is not a trail to nowhere, is it?
I will phone a friend. Lisa's all the way across the room.
So the trail, yes, microphone. I'll get my steps in today. The trail connects on the east end at the city, and it will go out and terminate at the end of the project at the, if you remember several years ago on a tour, we stopped at a DWR location. I'm struggling with what it's called.
Fisherman
It's a
access?
Fisherman access to the lake there. And so it will go out to that point, connect further out to SR23. And so SR23 goes north-south through the west side of the valley there. And there's a lot of biking and a lot of folks that use that corridor. So it won't connect to a trail, but it'll go out to a location where there's significant active transportation use as well.
So is the city going to maintain the maintenance of it, pick up the litter?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussions, questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, 6A1E, it's the Porter Rockwell Bridge. Currently funded at $50 million. Our request to add $17 million. Shown here on the map, this is the concept for this project is to construct a bridge over the Jordan River in Bluffdale that will span the UP and UTA rail lines. The bridge will be built wide enough for a 7-lane configuration. It will be striped to meet the current 5-lane striping as Porter Rockwell. The bridge will span over 500 feet and connect the two sections, the sections 4 and 5 that we talked about in yesterday's meeting. This bridge, with this bridge, a five-lane connection will be made between I-15 and approximately 146 South to Redwood Road on Mountain View Corridor. This increase is addressing two categories, $10 million to update the estimates of the bridge and $7 million to address funding shortfalls from the roadway segments 4 and 5. The original concept did not adequately address the roadway excavation for lowering the road profile and reducing the side slopes for this poor soil in this location.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'd move for approval as we reviewed yesterday and also heard this morning. This is critical to moving traffic through that area as it grows down there, so.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second, and this is also the project that the Mayor Timothy talked about just briefly. So, any further questions, comments, discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, approved.
Thank you. Next item, 6A1F, the West Davis Highway funding addition from the current proposed value. On our documents for today, you'll see two maps that detail out the current $610 million scope, which includes 4 lanes to Gentile Street, and then 2 lanes after that to Antelope Drive, a system interchange at I-15 and Legacy, and 3 interchanges at 2400 South, 200 North, and 2700 West. 11 miles of the new trail system, and it addresses 1,100 acres of our mitigation area. Our proposed scope shows in the second map, takes 4 lanes to SR 193, 16 miles total. So it does not stop the 4 lanes at Gentile, but continues the 4 lanes all the way to SR 193 at the top end of our map. System interchanges at I-15 and Legacy, and adds 2 full interchanges to the 3 that were in the current proposed at 2000 West and Antelope Drive. Antelope Drive will also be widened with a 0.6 mile increase, and SR 193 intersection and extension of 1.7 miles. Also continues to include the 11 mile of new trail systems in the 1,100 acre mitigation area. The West Davis Highway was originally funded with the money available in 2017 from the SB 277 bond package. At that time, there was not enough funding available for the full scope of this project. Region 1 is now requesting approval to add the additional funding to provide the full scope of this project, which includes full lane configurations for the extent of the project and necessary cross-street improvements. Being said, our request for today is a motion to approve to add the $190,750,000 to the West Davis Highway project as detailed.
I move for approval. Second.
Okay, motion and second. This is going to be a great asset for these communities. So parallel to I-15. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Long time in
There is.
town.
1955, is that what you said yesterday?
55 years.
Okay. Our next agenda item, 6A1G, the US 89 Farmington to I-84 funding addition. Shows the location of this project. In our justification, the additional funds are needed to meet the needs outlined in the 2040 environmental document and to respond to feedback received from the communities that were not included in the original cost estimate. The original estimate assumed use of existing pavement and the use of the current drainage system with limited changes at intersections in the frontage roads. However, during the environmental document, we've identified these changes that need to be included. The 6 lanes with shifts at intersections, 85% new drainage system, adds 5 miles of noise walls, provides a full frontage road along the entire route, construct a new bridge at Nichols Road, as well as construct a trail crossing at the extension of South Weber. Our request today is a motion for approval to add $200 million of TIF to our Transportation Improvement Fund to the US 89 Farmington to I-80 project as detailed.
I move for approval.
And I'd second. Chair, it's not insignificant. These last 2 projects are trying to help with that congestion up the middle, so I mean, that's good to see both these happen on both sides.
Okay. Any further comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I have a question, Ivans. Who has the right to select the color and designs of those walls, noise walls? We do, or the neighborhood, or it's a committee? Lisa?
Yeah, let Lisa.
Popularity contest, maybe?
Because I've seen different colors and different designs on these walls.
Yeah, so right now the project team is working with the cities as well as their community coordination team, which is a group of citizens and city officials, to come up with some acceptable options, what they want to see out there. And then the plan is to put it out for public comment and kind of get feedback on that, and then we'll move ahead with that.
So if the price tag comes more than allocated funds, who pays for that?
Well, they'll be given a budget to stay in, and if there's something over and above that, then it'll be a betterment, and the cities will help contribute to it.
Okay.
But I don't anticipate the walls being that type of an issue.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
Are these going to be concrete or wood?
I would assume concrete.
Well, the reason I ask that is because they're wood around Washington DC, and they've been there for years and years and years, and they seem to look all right. And they're cheaper.
It probably would be, I'm sure.
Of course, they burn down.
Okay. So, did we approve? Not yet. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Our next item on our TIF reset, I-15 Springvale and Spanish Fork Interchange. This project is currently funded with a $7 million environmental document, and our request today is to add $25 million for construction funds. Our project map here shows the location as well as some of the options that have been identified by the project team. After receiving this additional information on the concept, Region 3 has identified an efficient way to move forward. The funds identified are anticipated to support construction of the 2030 basic solution, which will add access ramps to the existing bridge and make minor improvements to the cross street. With that, our ask today is a motion for approval of the $25 million to the I-15 Springvale Spanish Fork Interchange project.
Mr. Chair, I'd move for approval. This will help with the new hospital being built. It'll help alleviate some of the stuff down Highway 6 interchange, so I think this is a good start for that area.
Second.
Yeah, it'll be changed over time, but it's a good start for now.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion and second. Before I take the vote, though, I would like to ask Terry to have a little bit of explanation on this like yesterday, please. Why we decided to go this way and how long we have, how much is going to be timeline on this project.
So previously, when we looked at this project, it's on our unfunded priorities list, and it was listed at $150 million. The proposal right now at $25 million provides us that needed access to I-15 at that location, and it gives us a really good cost benefit that we weren't looking at before. So this is a design that came up in the last month, and so that's why we've asked to add it to the set of projects, and it would be funded out in fiscal '24, so that would allow for a 2023 construction. And as we move through the environmental process, which we're in right now, if we find that that's not the right solution, we would come back and adjust that dollar amount if we saw that it needed to be something else.
Okay, thank you.
Request adjustment, I'm sorry.
Interested. With that explanation, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. With that change, that completes our transportation investment fund through 2024.
Okay.
Our next item, 6A2, I-15, it's the I-15 SR13 interchange, southbound on-ramp widening. Currently funded at $5.3 million, a request for transportation solutions of $1,250,000. The cost to widen the I-15 structure to provide the standard acceleration width and lane was higher than previously scoped in the concept phase. Our request today is a motion for approval to add $1,250,000 to the I-15 SR13 interchange southbound on-ramp widening project.
That's the motion before us. Anybody?
I'll move for approval.
Okay.
Second.
There's a motion and a second on item number 2 on this agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
Thank you. Next item, 6A3, SR 97 intersection improvements at 5100 West. It's a funding addition from our Transportation Solutions Fund, currently funded at $1 million. The request is to add $1.5 million. The SR 97 intersection was originally scoped to only replace the canal structure. During the later planning phase, the traffic numbers supported a warrant for the left and right-hand turn pockets of this intersection. This money would, and this request is to construct the turn pockets at this intersection.
And yesterday, for the commissions and the public, we talked about when intersection warrants a light signal. So there was quite a bit of discussion on that. Thank you.
Our request today is a motion for approval to add this $1.5 million to the SR 97 intersection improvements at 5100 West project.
Question on, what's the length of this? You call it a turning pocket?
The turn pocket?
Yeah, what's the length of that?
I will phone my friend.
How many cars will it hold? 1, 2, 10? Sorry, Lisa.
No, that's fine. I don't know the exact length right now. It's still being designed.
Okay.
But you'll have the right and left turn pockets. Through traffic on SR 97 doesn't have to stop. So we don't need a ton of storage in the right turn pocket. The issue at this intersection is it's really constrained by that canal structure, and there's sight distance problems for those folks on 5100 West to turn out. And so once we get that widened, it'll open it up and people will be able to move through there more safely. So, but it's still in design, so I don't know the length.
You think it's going to help for safety in that particular?
Absolutely. There was a fatal there a few years ago. So this will definitely help that. The community's really, really interested in this project, getting it done quick. So
Thank you.
Move for approval.
Okay.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussions, questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved.
Thank you. Item 6A4, the Harriman Parkway extension, 6400 West to 6800 West. This is a fund exchange at the request of using WFRC's urban funds and the Harriman Parkway extension. The request is to exchange $1.5 million of TIF funds from the SR 172 5600 rail project that we've talked about earlier to the Harriman Parkway extension 6400 West to 6800 West project. This exchange will benefit the local jurisdiction by giving them flexibility of the state funds to construct their project in a more efficient manner, as well as benefit WFRC by accelerating their program and obligating their federal funds earlier. This exchange will also benefit UDOT by bringing an additional $270,000 of federal funds to the SR 172 5600 West rail crossing project. It is anticipated, in the notes or in this description it says it is anticipated. It was approved in the WFRC's Transcom board meeting on April 19th. These notes came out before, was not updated yet.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
The 17th? Yes, I'm sorry, that's on the 17th. 17th.
Yeah.
Just the other day. I was
Yeah.
there.
Yes, you were there.
17 is the correct date.
The approval our request today is the approval to exchange $1,530,000 of TIF funds from SR 172 5600 West rail crossing for $1.8 million of WFRC's urban funds from the Harriman Parkway extension 6400 West to 6800 West project as detailed.
I would like to entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve this change.
Okay. So motion and a second on item number 4. Any further discussions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 4 is approved.
Thank you. Our next item is also in partnership with WFRC 4100 South Bangerter Highway, 5600 West. The proposal for today is to add funds, $5.4 million. These funds are from West Valley City. This project will fully reconstruct the roadway, the storm drain systems, water lines, and signals. Bids were opened last month, and the bid exceeded the estimate by 29%. West Valley City has agreed to fund the difference. These additional funds are required due to the construction escalation cost and cost increases on the items associated. This item was also approved in the WFRC's April 17th Transcom Board meeting. A request then is a motion for approval to add this $5,400,000 to West Valley City funds to the 4100 South Bangerter Highway 5600 West project as detailed.
Move to approve as stated.
Second.
Okay. Motion and second on number 5. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Approved.
Also in our packet, we include the information and communication with the city. And our next item, 6A6, University Hospital, is also a Wasatch Front Regional Council project. It is currently funded in an out year, 2024. The request for today, this project at the request of University of Utah Medical, on our map here, this blue dot right here, and I apologize, I'm using my mouse to highlight. The current proposed end of the UTA line would terminate here at the University of Utah Medical Center. The request is to move that location from the University of Utah Medical Center down to the Student Union building, which is this mark right below in the map. All functions and features would remain the same as detailed here in our justification. The request and scope change will move the end and the termination for UTA from University Hospital down to Student Union, and also move the funding from 2024 to the 2019 STIP, allowing them to start this change earlier. As part of our statewide transportation improvement program, as we've talked about before, this is part of our three-legged stool where we'll approve it. They have also approved it in their previous meeting on Wednesday, moving this location.
Makes a lot of sense to me. Living in that part of the world. So moved.
Okay.
I'd second.
Thank you.
This is a good project.
Be a good project for them.
So there's a motion and a second, item number 6. Any further discussions, comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Number 6 is approved.
Thank you. I believe our last item for today from our programming items, 6A7, I-80 State Street to 1300 West or 1300 East, is a funding addition of $650,000 of our Transportation Solutions funds. The project scope is to remove and replace transition joints at several structures along the I-80 corridor between State Street and 1300 East. This section of I-80 has high traffic volumes and limited options for traffic control. To limit the impacts of the traveling public, rapid set concrete along with the hydro demolition of the bridge approach slabs is allowed. Bids for these two items along with traffic control and maintenance of traffic have come in much higher than anticipated. This is the second time advertising this project, and both bids coming in over 110% of the engineer's estimate. In order to award this project, we request an additional $650,000 of our transportation fund to be added to this project.
I was going to say, I drive that road twice a day. Is it going to make it less loud when you go over there? I had complaints about, cavities coming out, buildings coming out. Just curious.
Brian's shaking his head yes.
So you're the one that's wearing that road out.
I'll tell you, that is a busy road. And now I have a sign for I-80 that cars. So I better move to approve that.
Second.
There's a motion and a second on this item, number 180, I-80 rather. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that is it for us. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Ivan. Charles, you're on deck. Item number 7 on your agenda is corridor preservation, so Charles is going to lead us.
Thank you, Commissioners. As usual, we'll go quickly through the fund balance. You'll notice the balance forward of a little over $32 million. You'll recall in the past few meetings, we've talked about pending reimbursements. You can see now that those funds are finalized and moved back into the fund. We've had revenue of just under $500,000. Diane McGuire, through her great work, has managed to close on several fairly significant transactions that you previously approved, resulting in expenses of just over $4.1 million. Bringing all of those numbers together would leave a fund balance of $28.75 million. You can see we have a significant number of funds obligated through previous approvals of the Commission, totaling a little over $27.6 million, leaving a fund balance of $1.1. You can see that those acquisitions are in various stages of the acquisition process. Again, Diane works very hard to see those through. And taking the chairman's comment about being charged by the minute, we only have one request today, so I hope to go fairly quickly. If approved, that would result in an expenditure of another $500,000, leaving a fund balance of just over $600,000. We continue to work with our folks in finance to see if we can't get additional funds reimbursed to the corridor preservation fund. It's a budgeting issue. The fund is set up to be out of pocket for a while and eventually be reimbursed, and that's the situation we find ourselves in now. But we're working hard with the number crunchers to see if we can't get some money back into the fund.
Any questions on these items? Go ahead, please.
Okay. With no questions there, we'll move into the one acquisition we have. It's a residential property that is under the alignment of the future SR 73. I'm going to scroll past the fact sheet and move just straight into the map that we have here. You can see the property to be acquired at 2036 East Sunnyvale Circle in Eagle Mountain is kind of on the left-hand side of this. And I guess that's a purplish, bluish color. I really appreciate that in this map you can see the parcels that we have already acquired for this future corridor. As we've discussed in the past, there's a ton of growth going on out here. There's a lot of need for this project. It's slated to be about 5 years out for construction. This home sits directly under the current proposed alignment. The property is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, approximately 3,600 square feet on approximately 1 acre, and has been appraised for $500,000. Our request to the Commission would be approval to proceed with this acquisition at that rate, and I would note that our advisory council has recommended this for your approval.
I'll move for approval.
I'd second.
Okay, motion and seconded. And any further discussions, question on this property?
May I just add, Mr. Chairman, that I feel that the process is very, very fair, both taxpayers and the state, and that we have this fund is a great compliment to the state of Utah that we're able to do this, and I appreciate Charles and Diane running this. It really, we too, Wayne and I are on that committee, and there's a lot of thought given to ensuring that people's rights are protected and the prices are fair, and it's just a great process. So I'm a big fan of how we're doing that.
We have a number of states through some of the AASHTO work and international right-of-way work that my group is involved with who constantly ask questions about how we do it, how we set it up. We share our statutes, share our process with them. I don't know that I've seen anybody carry it through yet, but we are spreading the word to others.
Yeah. Proud of us, yet again.
Thank you. So in this particular item number 7A, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's approved.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Commissioner.
Charles. Okay, Lyle McMullen, I saw him coming in. Welcome. Item number 8 is State Infrastructure Bank Loan Action.
Deja vu. All right, today I'm here to talk a little bit about the SIB, and then we have an action request. We're going to, Heather, if I can indulge, we're going to do that last. Let's go to the PowerPoint. Just a quick, I've been asked to do just a really quick presentation. It's 5 quick slides, just explaining what the State Infrastructure Bank is, what it's set up for, quick hits on some of the financials that we're doing, and then we'll go into the action request. So, gotcha. Purpose is to provide loans and assistance to improve transportation infrastructure in the state of Utah. It was set up back in 1998, and it has just a few guidelines. Basically, no entity can borrow more than 25% of the fund. The interest rates are tied to the municipal bonding rate that Utah and UDOT has, and rates are tiered to incentivize shorter-term loans. So if you have a 3 or a 5 or a 7-year loan, it's less than the 10 years. All loans must be paid back within 10 years. Capitalization history, again, back in 1998, the Federal Highway Administration and the Transportation Fund both contributed an additional $2.4 million to the fund. Another $1 million was added about 11 years later from the SNF. And then you can see for 15 years, we operated with about $3.5 million worth of funding. And then things started to get interesting. In 2013, and then 17, 18, and 19, the legislature continued to capitalize and add money to the fund, such that today, with interest from the loans of $1.8 million and PTIF interest, which is basically interest on money that we haven't dispersed yet, interest income, we have about $82.9 million in the fund today. We have 5 active loans, which you can see: Salt Lake County, Vineyard City, Maite, Fountain Green, and Escalante. And we have some pending loans based on legislation that was passed in this year's session, where it will increase our loans from 5 to 8 if those 3 additional entities indeed apply for the funds that they're eligible for, or that the legislature set aside for them. So our total loan capitalization of $82.9 million minus $50.7 million of active loans, and then the pending loans of $26.7 gives us an uncommitted balance of about $5.5 million. Are there any questions before we move?
Who can borrow? Who's qualified to borrow for this loan?
Any local, county, city, or other, I guess, and even another state agency could come in and do it, as long as it was for transportation infrastructure.
Okay.
What are the interest rates, ballpark?
So there is a city who is, there's a city who's inquiring about pursuing some of that $5.4 million that's unaccounted for, and we got our rates back, and it was like 1.7. So it's a really good borrowing environment right now for government. All right. All right, Heather, you want to help me? Where's 8? Oh, there we go.
Does the commission approve those loans? Lyle, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So that's the point of them, right, Joe?
Yes. In fact, you'll recall that not last month, but the month before, I came before you to talk about modifying a SIB loan for Salt Lake County.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So way back when we were all kids in 2016, the Transportation Commission on February 12th of 2016 approved a motion to approve a loan for St. George City for the underpass across from Red Hills Mall in St. George City. Turns out that they used a different source of funding, and that loan never happened. Subsequently, a while later, it was talked about in Transportation Commission staff meeting, but a formal motion was never taken. So technically, that money is still kind of in limbo. And what we're going to ask you to do today is to pass a motion to de-obligate those funds and put them back in the fund so that we can potentially provide assistance to somebody else.
Okay.
All right, so that money, that amount was for $3,198,000. And again, the money was not used, was not loaned. They don't need it anymore. They sent us a letter asking for us to rescind that authorization. And so the motion that I'm hoping to get from you today is to deobligate $3.198 million and return it back to the balance of the fund.
Okay with you, Danny? It's okay with me. As a matter of fact, I think we ought to do that.
Okay. Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay.
I'll second anything, Danny.
I thought we'd already done this.
No, we thought about it, but we didn't do it officially. Okay, there's a motion to deobligate $3.198 million, right?
That's correct.
So, and there's a motion and a second. Any further discussions? Any heartburn on that? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Now, has that money been earning any interest while it's been sitting there in limbo?
Yes, in fact, as one of the slides showed on the PowerPoint, that we have earned $1.6 million in interest on unallocated funds.
Perfect.
All right, so this looks vaguely familiar.
It does.
Right? What quarter preservation folks use. And so I've been asked to put something together that's similar so that it's familiar. So our balance forward as of today is $29 million. You have just approved the deobligation of that $3.198 million, so that leaves us a fund balance of $32.2 million. You've already approved a loan that has not yet been dispersed to St. George City for the Southern Parkway, their Exit 5 interchange, of $4.7 million. We're still working out the agreement there. So that leaves a fund balance of $27 million, of which $22 million we've been given direction for from the legislature. And so if you subtract that from the 27, that leaves us with the balance that we talked about earlier, $5.4 million.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Even though the legislature has designated where those loans will go, it's still the commission's responsibility to approve the terms of those loans.
That's correct. Thank you.
So you'll see them coming back in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
MIDA, again, remind me what that stands for?
Military Installation Development.
Okay. So that's a Hill Air Force Base kind of thing?
Yeah, there's one by Hill Air Force Base, but they're also doing a development off of
Soldier Summer.
US 40.
Great.
Yeah, that was before your time, Commissioner.
Yeah.
US 40 where?
Thank you.
My pleasure.
We're out on US 40.
You're Georgetown.
Okay, item number 9, grant updates. Welcome back, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about grants today. This is an informational item. I believe Terry Newell in the February Transportation Commission meeting talked about us being more consistent on reporting out on grants. And so we've started the process of gathering information and want to touch on a few recent grant awards and applications that we've done lately. So on the Transportation Commission webpage, we've added this link for now that says grant information, and this is a kind of a placeholder list of these grants. So first of all, I was glad that a couple of the grants that I listed on here matched what Brigitte showed earlier. That's always good, and it's not good when they don't match. One of those, the top 2 grants that are listed here are related to the autonomous vehicles that she talked about and that Blaine Leonard has been working on. I know some people got to ride on the autonomous shuttle yesterday. So there was the one that Brigitte mentioned here that has been awarded recently. We've tried to add links to this current document for the applications, a fact sheet, if there is one, from FHWA on the grant, the type of grant. We've listed the lead, the amount, and if we have information or if there's a clear total project estimate. A lot of these grants have a match requirement, or they compete better with a higher match. So we've tried to list that where applicable. And then over here, there's a link for like the press release. Like, for example, if I click on this one, it lists the FHWA press release about the grant. And so you can scroll down here and see the Utah Department of Transportation listed there. So that one is the awarded one, and then there's one that was submitted in March related to that same effort. There's a few other grants then moving down that have recently been submitted. I think we talked about these at different commission meetings in the past. I know in February we hit on a couple of these ones. These are infra grants, I-15, 24th Street interchange, and then US 40 climbing lanes and underpasses, kind of a combined UDOT project and I believe there's some Maite involvement on that project. And that's Region 1 and Region 3 respectively on those ones. Then we've listed the Road Usage Charge Program grant. That was another one that was recently awarded. And so there is a press release related to that one. I think Nathan Lee gave a presentation in January to the Commission about the Road Usage Charge Program related to Senate Bill 136 and Senate Bill 72. So, and I guess one of the, we've tried to create links here to applicable information where possible. So this right here would link to the road usage charge website, and there's a lot of information here. All the presentations that have been given and information on there. And then this last one listed is the build grant that Brigitte noted in her presentation. It's always funny to me the thought of having to come up with these acronyms. It seems like on some of these they start with the acronym and then have to work backwards into the name. And so it'd be fun to be in those discussions trying to come up with the names. This one, so through I don't know if we got some advance notice, I guess, through a text message from Carlos. On Brigitte's slide, it said that the notice of funding opportunity is going to be announced on Monday. It's already posted on the FHW website, so I need to give credit to Jordan Backman in our planning group. On Tuesday, I believe, this was posted on the website, and he's already dug into it. And to your question, Mr. Chair, earlier about project eligibility and criteria, he's already put together a summary of that. I haven't had a chance to look through that, but it talks about what types of projects would be eligible and some of the selection criteria for those projects. So, yeah, I guess if I'm hoping that we got a little jump start on that one. Then, if it's going to be announced on Monday formally, it's because it's already on their website.
That's why UDOT is number one.
So Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we will review this information and then come back to the commission with some recommendations based on the criteria review.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So that's a brief list of some of the 2019 grants that UDOT is working with. There's other grants that are going on, and there's other grants that are. I know the 56 West project that was in one of the commission actions has some infra grant money from previous applications on it. So we have that information also. So.
On behalf of the UDOT Commission, thank you to you and to your committee for updating us in the grant and presenting this the way it was, because it's really helped us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any question from Ben? Anyone? Thank you. Good job. Okay. Lane Murphy is going to be updating us administrative rule review, R99-3.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Mr. Commissioner and Commissioners. Lane Murphy with the Motor Care Division. As some of you may or may not know, we do oversee, or the UDOT department oversees the rule and standards for school buses, and so it has been went through a process. The standards that exist in rule right now are the 2010, and they have been updated now to have the 2019 standards in rule. And I'm just here to share. They've actually have modernized technology, and it's all electronic now, to where there's hyperlinks available. So a document that was like 120 pages is now down to about 35 pages in the school bus standards. And so, anyway, that has been went through the process, and we're here to present that for you. So, any questions for me? I'd happy to share. So.
Are older school buses grandfathered in, or do they have to meet?
There is some grandfathering things for our older school buses. Yeah, absolutely, there is. But for the most part, as most of you probably are aware, most of those things are very new. A lot of the older stuff is being used by some of the not public schools, but the charter schools and that type of thing. But they still have to fall under a standard, though. There's still standards they have to fall under. Yeah, absolutely. And UHP. Twice a year, biannually inspect them buses, making sure that they are safe. So they're being checked all the time as well.
How old are the oldest buses still in service?
Oh, these are questions. I am not sure what they would be. I don't know. I'm not sure on that. That's a question I do not know.
I mean, some of these must need to come out of service.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, then they are every 2 years they are inspected. UHP has a group that goes out and inspect these buses by twice a year. And so if they don't meet the criteria, then they can't use them. So they are safe. At least when they're inspected, they're safe. So, and then there's also the requirements that the drivers are required to go out and do a post-trip inspection, pre- and post-trip inspections, which is a requirement that they need to do as well. So,
Thank you, Lane.
you bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair,
Yes.
like I said, every meeting for a year I come to, I find something new that we're responsible for.
Well,
You know, it's been trails, climbing cliffs, airports, how's other now school buses. So I'll have to learn more about school buses.
well,
Wait, just give me a list here of everything else, or Carlos, and I'll be, yeah, because I guess it makes me come a new
You
surprise.
might not have agreed to serve.
A new surprise, and it's great, but I didn't
If it
know
moves, we're interested.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it's good to
Well, Jim,
know.
it sounds like this is one of those times when you get pass something back to the legislature and say, here, fund this, will you?
Yeah, so it's good to learn these. I'm glad to learn them.
Okay, for the commission, the next meeting is May 16 and 17 in Clearfield. Mark your schedule accordingly. In your package also, you have the yellow sheet. That is the latest updated directory from the UDOT. Thank you for doing that, Carlos. Appreciate it very much. And I see the UDOT clothing options, spring 2019, Carlos. You want to explain anything about that?
Well, we wanted to give the commissioners an option if they chose to fly the UDOT flag. If there's an item you'd like to select, are we responding to Heather or Elizabeth on this? Send it to Heather.
Okay.
Elizabeth helped put these options together.
So this is the Christmas wish list? Is that what it is?
And, it might be something you might want to wear on your commission, on the tours that we do on Thursdays.
That'll be wonderful.
Oh, man.
Merry Christmas.
So this is not the BYU code, isn't it?
It's UDOT code.
So that is that. Any other things, Carlos, from UDOT?
No, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I really appreciate the time you've given to us over the last 2 months. The workshops, I know, take a lot of time, and as you know, we prepare for it all year long. And so we'll start working on next year's workshop coming up. You'll start seeing those needs and condition reports starting in the summertime. And I just appreciate the time you've put into it and the questions you've asked. Thank you.
Well, we love it. We love education. We love all that you do. Thank you, everyone. All the regions, staffs, group leaders, especially Heather. Thank you for organizing us every time. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to show up and ask for reports on time. Anything else from the floor? Anyone? Otherwise,
Free of charge.
free of charge this time, yeah?
On a day like this.
Thank you for being here. We made a special arrangement to make it quick and short so you can go and play the sunshine that we brought you from St. George. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, crack a whip, now I gotta go back to